Hello and welcome back to the Den, fellow dorks. My name is Matt, and today I apologize, I do not have a battle report to upload. Although we did actually film one. Chance brought out his Tyranids, I brought out my Necrons, I had the Silent King, he had the Swarm Lord. It was a pretty sweet game, to be honest. 67 to 61, very narrow victory for the Crons. Spoiler alert, although not a spoiler because you're not going to see that battle report. The quality of it, I have to be honest, just wasn't what I know we're capable of. I got this new audio setup, which I'm kind of using this video to test as well, actually, because I didn't have a chance to test that before the previous one. And there were some peaks and valleys that I had to try to cut around a little bit. And on top of that, it was actually the first time that both of us had played those armies in 10th edition. So I had to cut around a lot of kind of rules lookups and just double checking data sheets, things like that. And about 25-30 minutes in, I just decided to axe it. I didn't like where it was kind of heading with that. So that being said, there are a couple of things that I did want to take this opportunity to discuss. So let's go ahead and jump into that now. So the first thing to talk about is, of course, the channel itself. The biggest factor that I've had that's been stopping me from being able to create and develop content is, much like you guys, who has the time anymore? Between work and family and lifestyle obligations, things of that sort, we just don't find ourselves with that much extra time these days. Well, I'm happy to say that I have axed the biggest thing that I could have to be able to give me more time, and that is my job. Now, don't worry, it is not that actual shocking here. I've left simply corporate America. I've been doing that for roughly the last decade or so, and I've been fortunate enough to get myself into a spot where I can leave that behind, and I've actually accepted a part-time job at my local friendly game store. I'm just hanging out there talking D&D and Warhammer, and it's just a great time. In the meantime, that's going to allow me to give all the time, all of the resources that I have to go ahead and get this channel going. What that means for you. First up, we're going to have battle reports weekly. I'm going to do my best to try and get these out every week by Friday. We usually shoot these on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and so that really only gives me 2 days to kind of actually get through and edit it. I think that's going to be more than doable, and who knows, as the time goes on, maybe we get more battle reports, maybe we get additional videos. I'm not against other types of, hey, release content, hey, well, here's my thoughts, but to be honest, that's not really on my radar at this exact moment. I just want to throw some dice and have some fun. Speaking of those battle reports, let's go ahead and take a few minutes and just discuss the different armies that you can actually expect to see across said battle reports, right? First up, we've got the Orc Boys. You can't go wrong. This was the inspiration for the channel. These were my first army. I have thousands of points of Orc Boys. I used to play them as Death Skulls. All of them are blue. And you can expect to see these guys on the channel super often. I love my Orc Boys in all the flavors. You're going to see them. The next army that you've actually already seen on the channel as well is going to be the Grey Knights. Mr. Drago here has led countless invasion forces for me against countless different armies and opponents, and I gotta say, Grey Knights have been one of my favorite armies to play throughout 9th edition. I know they're struggling a little bit in 10th edition, but I'm excited to see what happens. I know they got point changes coming up, and then we've got our codex coming out down the road, so I think with their movement shenanigans and just a little bit of tweaking, these guys are going to be a force to be reckoned with. All right, next up, and timeline-wise, my second army, the one we just missed out on this battle report I was talking about, is my Necrons. Now, I used to run my Necrons in that Novak dynasty. I absolutely love the red on the Necron kind of black/steel. And then I like to do my C'tans here with a little bit of that blue hue to them. Mr. Sarazak King, Silent King, whatever the hell his name is. This guy will just walk around and slap your opponent in the face. His Menhirs are doing like 6 flat damage, and this guy is, oh, he's great. I wish you guys could have seen him in the battle report. I did you guys a disservice by not letting you see that. I do apologize. On to the next army here. I have one of my newer armies that I've acquired, again, timeline-wise, and that would be the Tyranid Horde. Now, my Poison Dart Frog kind of scheme on the Tyranids here, these guys I acquired kind of close to the end of 9th edition, maybe, I don't know, at the beginning of the year, and these dudes have been just a fantastic time to play. The Swarm Lord himself, giving you 2 CP in 10th edition is really sweet. I played against him in that battle report. I'm going to keep bringing it up just to make everybody salty. He didn't actually do that great in melee, which was kind of surprising. You know, I'm used to this guy just slapping everybody in melee, so could have been the dice, could have been some luck, whatever it might have been. Your mileage will always vary in Warhammer. Taking our step into the Chaos realm for a moment, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Chaos Demons. Now, I really love putting Be'lakor on the table. I've kind of had hit and miss with him, and if you watch the Orc video, you'll see that maybe he's not all he's cracked up to be. However, I do like to throw in the Nurgle flavor. I love putting, you know, the Nurgle beasts on the table. I've got a bunch of plus lords. I can't even remember their name. They're all disgusting. But yeah, the big fatties here are my absolute favorite. I've got 2 of them. I want to get a 3rd one and just all of it. I'm also picking up a Bloodthirster pretty soon, so I'm just going to start kind of like branching out. Oh yeah, love demons. These guys you will see on the table very soon. Continuing the trend of the Chaos realm here, we have my Knights, which are going to be, of course, the Chaos Knights. Now, these guys are a bit of a work in progress here. I don't really have any highlights on them, and I know they look okay, so please don't chastise me in the comments, but these guys here are super fun to play. I took them to Boise Cup, and I had a video I was going to make about it, and life happened. I was still working my job, yada, yada, yada. I apologize. It got lost to the fray. That being said, the Chaos Knights here, I absolutely love. Their Battle Shock whole chapter tactic is stupid because, as you guys, if you guys have played any 10th edition, you'll know that Battle Shock doesn't really do that much. But that being said, fully magnetized Knight guys here, I can't wait to get these on the table for you. We're going to put some Chaos Knights versus some Imperial Knights and see who wins the die roll. Alright, so I've got 2 armies left to talk about. However, these 2 armies you're not going to see on the table, at least not within the next probably month or 2, because to be honest, they're just not ready. And the first one is my Tau Empire. Now, my entire Tau Empire, this is the army that I got most recently. I picked up a couple of used lots throughout the community and jammed them together, got a couple thousand points of them, and there was no Farsight at the time here, so I kind of kit bashed my own little one here. But super gonna pick up that new Farsight model. Oh, crisp, love it. But the entire army is just this, just dry brush, and although sure it doesn't look that bad, right? It's kind of a nice little texture. There's no basing. I haven't painted these guys yet. I'm pretty certain I want to go with the Farsight Enclave red theme. I also want to do white and orange, but I don't know. That's why you're not going to see these guys quite on the table anytime soon. They're just not battle ready, and I won't be putting anything on the table that's not battle ready. Battle ready plus, to be honest. Okay, and lastly, I don't even have a model to hang up for it because it's in some of those bins back there, it's in some bins up top, and that is my Space Marines. Now, I told you guys I was gonna talk about my Space Marines, and I picked them up in late 8th edition, I believe, early 9th edition. I played them on the Iron Hands chapter. I had a lot of fun. Redemptors, I still have like 1 Redemptor. I have a Repulsor Executioner, I think, up there, and a couple Tech Marines maybe, and of course Iron Father Farios himself. And I quickly found that I didn't really... I'm a Xenos player. I don't do the Space Marines. Again, Grey Knights don't count. So that's kind of where that's at. I have maybe 1,000 points left over as I've kind of sold off pieces and given to friends and stuff like that. Maybe I will eventually put them on the table. Maybe I'll, we'll do a small battle report or something, or I'll get some more, I don't know, whatever. That being the case, those are the armies that I have. Let me know in the comments which ones you are most excited to see in the battle reports, and I will absolutely put those ones on the table sooner rather than later. Please, dear God, don't say Space Marines or Tau, because I just can't bring myself to do it. All right, now let's go ahead and continue that trend with Wyatt and Chance's armies. However, I apologize, I don't have their models here at my house to hold up for you, to demonstrate their paint schemes or anything, so you're just gonna have to look at my ugly mug here. So, first up, let's talk about Chance. Now, much like myself, Chance has a ton of orcs. I cannot count how many times I have had to fight Gazkul Thraka across the table because Chance is like, hey, I'm bringing Gaz, I'm bringing Gaz, I'm bringing Gaz. So expect to see, again, lots of orcs, not only mine, but Chance's orcs. He typically played his as Goffs, and now of course we're all forced to play Goffs, thanks GW. But yeah, so those exploding sixes are right at home for Chance, and he is going to be throwing a billion dice over the coming years with those orcs. Next up, Chance has an absolutely beautifully painted Leviathan-themed Tyranid army. I wish you could have seen me slap that bitch into the ground because it was fantastic. Of course, I'm only kidding. Again, it was a very close game. I'm going to tease you guys throughout the entire video here, 67 to 61 for it, and Chance put up a hell of a fight. He did bring a kind of a little bit of a mix. He had some monster mash with a couple Carnifexes and Old One Eye. He also has a horde theme to his Leviathans, though. He's got tons of Gants. He's birthing those babies all day. So look forward to actually seeing those Tyranids on the channel in the upcoming battle reports. Chance's last painted army, as far as I know off the top of my head at least, are his Imperial Knights. And these are one, again, you're going to get to see on the table sooner rather than later. We're going to be putting his Imperial Knights up against my Chaos Knights and see what happens. And moving on to Chance's remaining armies that you guys will eventually see on the channel, he's got a nice Imperial Guard army that he's working on with a freaking Baneblade in there. That's a pretty fun matchup. I don't know if you guys have ever gone against a Baneblade before. He also has a nice, huge army of Death Guard. Now, we all know that Death Guard is not exactly in the top ranks, shall we say, of 10th edition. So I would not expect him to be eager to get those painted. And his last army that he is rocking are some classic Space Wolves. I've faced across these Space Wolves a couple of times, so I know he has some painted. I'm going to make sure I keep pestering him, get those guys painted so you guys can see some form of Space Marines on the channel, because that's done for Chance, and we're going to talk about Wyatt. You're going to realize there's no Space Marines here either. So Wyatt here is rocking a couple of different armies as well that I know of. And again, I apologize if I miss any here, Wyatt. But Wyatt is kind of known for his first army, his Tau. I've faced against his Tau numerous times. We did a crusade earlier in the year where his Tau were just like bah, 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 and everybody was dying. It was fantastic. It was hilarious. The Tau, you will see those on the channel. I think we actually might have those coming up. Again, not anything in concrete. We just keep throwing armies in the air here. Wyatt's next army is another version of Chaos Demons. Now, the nice thing here is he tends to lean more into the Tzeentch and the Khorne version of our demons. I can't count how many times that stupid Lord of Change with the Impossible Robe just made me want to cry so bad in 9th edition. It was a fantastic, fantastic relic, and I'm glad that that is no longer a thing. So thank you, GW, for that one. Continuing on with his armies, we then have another Imperial Guard army, and if it's not one Baneblade that we want to use, it's a Shadow Sword, I think it is, that he rocks his variant as. And again, just a fun, really cool guard army. And I've only played against it once. I know he's got a couple of mortars that he likes to put in the background. I couldn't tell you everything. He did take it to Boise Cup, so that was kind of cool. However, there was no paint requirement for Boise Cup. So because we were playing 10th edition and it was brand spanking new, it was literally on the release of 10th edition on the 24th. So pretty sweet army. Look forward to seeing those guard, his flavor of it at least, on the table in the near future. And then the last one that I know for a fact that Wyatt has is going to be his Chaos Space Marines. I was just at the local game store that we play on Tuesdays and throwing some dice with a couple of people, and I looked over and he had a 10-man block of Terminators just like demolishing this Black Templar list. The Black Templar list was really memey and really fun, though. It was, if I remember correctly, 2 Land Raiders with 18 characters. 10th edition lets you do some wonky things. It's really weird. But yeah, so that was really funny to look over and see there. Regardless, I know that one does need some paint on it, and so again, I cannot wait until Wyatt, you get to painting and get that army ready, and then we are going to go ahead and get those on the table as well. The last thing I want to take a moment to talk about is just the overall aesthetics and general visuals of the channel here. Now, I have to say thank you for all of the feedback that you have all provided. It's been positive, and the criticisms that we have received have been nice and constructive, and to be honest, I got to agree with all of it. I've already taken steps to kind of go ahead and change the overall overlays a little bit, make it a little bit cleaner. And then on top of that, we're gonna go ahead and continue to improve the secondaries and the different, camera angles, just to make it a little bit easier and not such hard cuts as we continue to improve. In addition to that, I'm currently in the process of getting additional terrain. I've got my eye on certain sets of terrain that we typically use in the tournament scene, and I really want to use terrain that everybody could expect to see should you go to a local tournament or a ITC ran event, something like that. So some of the terrain until we get to that is going to be questionable. However, know that it is one of our top priorities, trying to get a better layout, a better terrain features, and also more playmats so we don't have to have just the city and just the grass one for now. So look forward to getting some variation going forward. But for the next couple, it will likely still be kind of that variation of terrain you've seen with a few additions here and there. That does it for me, folks. Thank you so very much for hanging out with me today. I cannot give you a large enough, huge enough, gigantic enough, and exterminatus-sized thank you to all of you who have hit that like and subscribe button. I absolutely adore every single one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I look forward to continuing to create enjoyable content for all of you. I'll see you in the next video.